What makes dance truly an art form is when we use our humility.
UNICEF thought they were going to get this pretty face, and what they got was a soldier.
Just as much as they need medicine or food, they need the arts.
Today on Spotlight, a biographer reveals Audrey Hepburn's secret World War II past. Plus, a vaccine that might strengthen your immune system to help fight COVID-19. And then the fall exhibits at the Duane Reed Gallery. But first, casual concerts outside and socially distanced seating. It's Sunday and you're watching Spotlight.
Social distancing and restrictions on indoor capacity are leaving theaters dark and concert halls empty. But as always, artists are resilient. 2 arts organizations are bringing live music back to the outdoors with events that are safe and planned to a T. The Sheldon Concert Hall and Galleries offers picnics on the plaza, making use of a new outdoor space. The series featuring the Western Satellites, Janet Evra, and Hudson and the Hoodoo Cats sold out almost immediately.
Completely sold out in 12 hours. So that I'm going to take that as the public is ready and excited to be back at the Sheldon.
A few blocks away at the Grandel, the Kranzberg Arts Foundation is partnering with Jazz St. Louis for 2 open-air concerts each week.
Well, patrons love being outside. A lot of artists are coming back for their first time on a stage. It's heavily mitigated. Everything's done in advance. It's a contactless experience from start to finish.
The events have limited seating with safety protocols front and center.
You buy your tickets in advance, you do health screenings in advance, and all your food and beverages purchased in advance and flies to your table. There's no transactions at the table. Everything's done through an app on your phone if you want to order drinks day of, but no food can be ordered day of. Everybody's socially distant in their seats, no group over 6. We have full contact tracing protocols. We know everybody's contact information, everybody's seated, one way in, one way out.
We thought, okay, we'll do tables, we'll do dinners, we'll have wine and beverages available, and we'll have live music, and we'll sell it all as a package, and we'll limit the number of seats, and we'll see how it goes.
And how did it go?
It's been awesome. People have been crying their first note back in front of live music. It's great to be out celebrating culture and enjoying life, but people really understand that we're going to exhaustive measures to do it safe. We're not trying to create an environment of overconsumption or people getting up and dancing and hooting and hollering. We're really trying to create a space where people can enjoy the music, enjoy their food and bev, enjoy their friends and family.
So the musicians have been delighted, and we're happy to give musicians work. I mean, that's actually, I think, a big part of part of our mission is providing opportunities for musicians to connect with people.
New socially distant outdoor events are in the works. At the Grandel, October brings a new brunch series. At the Sheldon, more concerts may be added to the schedule.
It's going to take a while, I think, for people to feel safe and to feel like they can return. But I know people need this just as much as they need medicine or food. They need the arts.
People are ready to get back to it, but we need to manage that desire to get back to it with safe processes and make sure we're going to safe spaces. It's something we all desire, but we really need to be responsible in these next phases of reopening and make sure we can do this the right way so we get out of this sooner rather than later.
To find out more about the concerts and where to purchase tickets, visit hecmedia.org. Follow HEC Media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
All right, Miss Brent, begin.
Audiences first got to know Audrey Hepburn when she played a dancer in the 1952 film Secret People. But most audiences did not know Hepburn had a painful secret of her own.
Her mother had been a Nazi sympathizer. Her father Joseph Rustin was a Nazi agent. It created a problem that Audrey would have, this burden that Audrey would lug with her the rest of her life.
Audrey Hepburn's family lived in the Netherlands, and to make up for the sins of her parents, she did everything she could during World War II to help the resistance, including dancing to raise money to feed and clothe Jews in hiding.
There are any number of times when she almost died. Somebody, probably a German soldier, shoved her under a tank as the bullets stitched past. And then she lived through the hunger winter, so it's a miracle in a way when you add it all up.
Later in life, the indignities Hepburn experienced during the war turned her into a tireless humanitarian, traveling the world as a special ambassador for the United Nations Children's Relief Organization known as UNICEF.
UNICEF thought they were going to get this pretty face, and what they got was a soldier who insisted on going into war zones, civil wars, the dangerous conditions on all of these missions. And she insisted on going in there because there were children who were like her, who were victims of wars started by adults.
Now, a new biography reveals the wartime experiences that made Audrey Hepburn's life more difficult and yet more meaningful.
And that's why nobody had written a book about it, because she wouldn't talk about it. And because while she was alive, certainly no one dared talk about the fact that her parents were Nazis. And so when I stumbled upon this topic, I was working on a book on Jimmy Stewart in the 8th Air Force, and I stumbled upon the fact that Audrey was in Arnhem in the Netherlands through the war. Well, that's pretty interesting. But nobody had written a book about that. Now, why? It was because she wouldn't talk about it.
Which is sort of astounding. I mean, I guess it's understandable since she wouldn't talk about it, but you had mentioned somewhere along the line that there's something like 1,000 titles of material. If you go and look up Audrey Hepburn on Google, it would seem like there's nothing left to say or to write about, but you certainly found something.
I did, and I can't believe it was me.
How in the world did you find all this out?
Really, it was the children. It was the people about her age who were left in Arnhem enveloped that I could talk to. And I sat down with them, and they really opened my eyes to, how brutal it was there. And so I had those things. I spent a lot of time in the Netherlands on the ground doing this research. And then I got hooked up with Audrey's son, Luca. And he filled in blanks for me. I filled in blanks for him. We formed this sort of partnership, and we're kind of like brothers now. And it's really, that part's very cool.
She clearly didn't talk about it publicly, but was it something she even talked about privately with him?
Yeah, she talked to both sons about the war quite a bit. Lessons you can learn, my son, and it's really all about the war. And he said, he made a big point of that she wouldn't tell stories about Hollywood when she wanted to make a point about doing the right thing and growing up the right way. She talked about the war.
It did have some positive influence on her life, or at least it influenced her to make positive changes in other people's lives through her work through UNICEF. It's all of a piece, right? It's all tied together.
Absolutely. So the war ends, and it's the UNRRA, which is the precursor to UNICEF, brings food in and clothing and whatever. And Audrey sees that and benefits from it, and she pays it forward. It took her a long time. Once she was through with her career, it was always with her. There are little UNICEF things that she did, I think, going back to, years before her official involvement.
Do you ever ask yourself what she would think about the fact that now that she's gone, that this story is coming out?
That was asked of Luca and me sitting in Velp at the book launch there, and I gave an answer that was just me talking. But then Luca said she would say it was okay because this was the right way to tell it. It wasn't sensational. It was like, this is the time. He honestly felt, he feels the spirit of his mother pretty closely, and he felt that she would think it was for the good, that the world needs to hear this now.
Well, and thanks to you, the world is. Robert Mattson, thanks very much.
Thank you, Paul.
Text Mattson to 31996 to watch the full interview or download our Talking with Authors podcast.
HEC Media presents Talking with Authors, the podcast. your favorite writers and genres with diverse subjects and styles, like New York Times bestselling author Brad Meltzer, crime writer Karen Slaughter, Charles Fishman, Sarah Kendzior, Judy Blume, with new podcasts dropping bi-weekly. Subscribe to Talking with Authors wherever you get your podcasts. From HEC Media, Left Bank Books, and the St. Louis County Library.
There's one vaccine with nearly 50 years of proven safety that may strengthen the immune response to viral infections, possibly protecting people from COVID-19. It's the vaccine for measles, mumps, and rubella, the MMR vaccine. St. Louis healthcare workers are signing up for a clinical trial to see if the MMR vaccine could protect them and one day everyone else.
Hong Kong recently had a measles outbreak. So what did they do? Recently they did a mass vaccination program with MMR in Hong Kong. SARS coronavirus 2 hits. New York gets hit really hard, thousands of deaths. Hong Kong, same population, one of the most densely packed cities in the world, minimal serious infection, and when the last I checked, the deaths were at around about 100.
Dr. Michael Avedon is one of the principal investigators for the International MMR Vaccine Clinical Trial, enrolling up to 30,000 healthcare workers globally. Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis is the clinical coordinating center for the MMR Vaccine Trial. Dr. Avedon and co-investigator Dr. Mary Politi are evaluating whether the MMR vaccine can truly protect against COVID-19.
The immune system of the body actually does well when it's trained to respond to infections. Where we've discovered this in particular is in relation to weakened organisms that are used as vaccines.
The immunity to the specific viruses of measles, mumps, and rubella lasts a long time, hopefully a lifetime. But to other viruses and other pathogens that you may be exposed to, that immune response is probably months to years. We don't know exactly how long.
Another reason the MMR vaccine may be effective is the similarities between the weakened viruses in the vaccine and the SARS-CoV-2 virus that carries COVID-19.
Fusion proteins on the measles and rubella viruses, especially when they bind to our cells, look really similar structurally to the spike protein of the SARS coronavirus 2, which causes COVID-19. So when we form antibodies to the measles, mumps, and rubella viruses in the vaccine, it is possible that those antibodies might recognize as well the SARS coronavirus 2. So we got really excited about MMR because we think there are two key mechanisms by which the MMR vaccine might help in the fight against this particular coronavirus.
And they say recruiting frontline healthcare workers makes the most sense.
We wanted to make sure we were preserving the people who would take care of everybody who was getting sick with SARS coronavirus. By focusing on people who are regularly exposed, we then get our data in a faster way.
Because it is a study, participants won't know if they're getting the vaccine or an inactive placebo. Researchers want to learn whether the vaccine slows the spread of the virus and protects healthcare workers from developing COVID-19. They'll also determine if it can reduce the severity of illness for those who do become infected. People in the U.S. have already had the vaccinations as children. Another booster would be safe and worth a shot, as it's not yet known when a COVID-19 vaccine would be available for everyone.
I know there's a lot of excitement about vaccines for SARS coronavirus 2, but there's no guarantees that any of them will work. Even if they work, we don't know for how long they will work. And we don't know how many people will get the vaccines. It's really challenging to get a new vaccine all around the world.
So while we're waiting for some specific vaccines for SARS coronavirus, we could administer it very rapidly at low cost to many countries that have it available to them. It's very, very safe, and it's also very affordable and available.
To learn more about the study and the other routine vaccines scientists consider, plus why they say now is the time to get your scheduled vaccinations, go to the full story on our website at hecmedia.org.
why yellow cabs are really orange, or are they? Later on Spotlight.
The title of the exhibition is Microcosm, and the reason for that exhibition name is that all of the artists in the show, their work is about organic life and how it relates to their own individual processes. Jiyoung Lee takes optical quality glass, which is very heavy and very dense, and he's able to precisely cut it apart and then use a laminate process to color the interior. And then when he is reassembling the sculpture, in its final presentation, the light reflects off of the interior of the glass laminate and reflects the color back outwards, which gives the illusion of the piece actually glowing from the interior. Kate Rhodes' material, in its relation to aesthetically sea life in organic forms, she utilizes a process of Murini cane, which is a glass technique where a rod is created and then dissected, and then she takes those individual parts and fastens them together through a process of metal wire attachments. She also works in jewelry, and you can see the aesthetics of a jeweler being represented in her larger sculptural forms. Benjamin Cobb's work is informed by his interest in the similarities between both human anatomy and natural organisms. In the series that we have presented here at the gallery in this show, he titled the work Muscle Grouping, referring both to the sea life organism muscle and also the human anatomy of muscles. And Miles Keogh is a local artist, and his work is all about the creation of fictional cities and imagining what sort of areas they inhabit.
I was into printmaking, painting, all kinds of different works, but what I really liked doing was understanding how spray paint can break apart and be something a little bit different. Through my printmaking and doing viscosity prints and different kind of acid etchings, I was able to get some really fun pictures out of it that weren't typical. And then I really wanted to explore how I could do that with spray paint. So with the help of friends and lots of different trials, I was able to break up spray paint in different ways with different chemicals. And to the point where now it looks natural and flowy, but in reality, the spray paint effects that I get are all pretty pre-planned. You know, so I know about almost exactly how each one's going to break apart through all those trials and errors. Not saying I know exactly where each little speck of black's going to go, but each different chemical and technique has its own way of breaking and changing or diluting the spray paint.
In addition to the main exhibition, we also have a special exhibition of Jan Hulling's work on view in the front of the gallery. This show and the special exhibit are on view until October 17th. For more information, you may visit DuaneReedGallery.com.
Has your dining room become the classroom? Virtual learning is the new reality, and Educate.Today is here to help with free standards-aligned videos, lesson plans, and activity ideas in arts, humanities, social studies, STEM, and career exploration for students from elementary age through high school. It's Educate.Today.
There's always traffic in St. Louis. Don't you wonder where everybody's going? Cars and trucks, always traffic. And a lot of taxis. And that's the rub. That yellow cab, it's not a yellow cab. That's a yellow cab right behind the red cab. In St. Louis, yellow cabs are orange. It's one of those silly little peeves that's troubled me ever since I moved to St. Louis as a small child 30-plus years ago. St. Louis yellow cabs. Orange St. Louis yellow cabs. Doesn't everybody wonder why? Do your passengers ever ask why yellow cabs are orange?
Never asked me.
Nobody's ever asked?
Never asked me.
Orange isn't yellow, but in St. Louis, yellows are orange. That's a yellow car. And that's a yellow car. This is a yellow car. This is an orange truck. Orange, yellow. This is a yellow plate. This is an orange. This orange car is a yellow cab. This is the office of Yellow Cab. This is where drivers for Yellow Cab relax between shifts, just like in an episode of Taxi. And now that I think about it, their cabs were yellow, not orange. Curiosity is a terrible thing. I came here to get answers. Why are yellow cabs in St. Louis orange?
So we can stand out there.
Are they talking to me?
Okay.
Are they talking to me? Yeah, but most yellow cabs, if you go to New York, they're yellow.
No, they're not color.
No, they're yellow.
Yeah.
What did you say? Not your color?
Not our color yellow. New York yellow cabs are that color.
No, sir. They're yellow.
We always have to tell them, people, that when they call that yellow cab, but it's orange.
I suppose that the yellow cab company can paint their cars blue or green or purple and still call them yellow cabs if they want. It's just one of those things we can argue about and wonder about.
Any yellow cab that's really yellow, like canary yellow, that's not a real yellow cab.
But there's one person who can really answer this question. Orange or yellow? You're going to solve the mystery.
Me?
Yes.
What mystery shall I solve?
The boss here says that you actually paint these colors, this color on these cabs.
Yeah.
Let's go see what color the can of paint says.
Can you show them?
Yeah, I can show them, yeah.
Wow, this is getting exciting. They should start engraving my name on the Investigative Reporting Emmy right now. All right, what color does it say on it?
It says...
The Emmy judges love this kind of suspense.
light orange.
Mystery solved. Yellow cabs are light orange. It really makes no difference. It's just one of those weird St. Louis things. So, yellow cabs are orange. We knew that when we saw the orange yellow cab. So don't cross the allegedly yellow line and watch out for the yellow light. Hey, that's a light orange Jeez Louise.
You can find the stories featured in today's show along with past episodes and more at hecmedia.org/spotlight.
My name is Jane Tellini. I currently dance and choreograph with a contemporary dance company here in St. Louis, Missouri. And at the same time also study Butoh, which is a Japanese form of avant-garde dance. So Butoh was formed in World War II by two men, Tatsumi Hijikata and Kazuo Ono. And it was really born out of a necessity for deepening a conversation about Japanese culture and their identity. Because after the bombs were dropped, there was a big question left of where do we go from here? When we're faced with such grief, loss, and death, there's sort of a need to explore deeper and to find what is beyond what has been. And so I think Butoh was really born out of that necessity. Their movements were very contorted and really came from sort of a more primal or animalistic place than what was sort of being seen around the world as modern dance at the time. The way that I am sort of taking the influence of Butoh and bringing it into a more structured classroom setting is by really taking each movement and bringing it back to a purpose, to a motivation, whether that's connecting to something inside of yourself, an experience that you've had, or a storyline, a theme that we can embody and use to power our movement. To me, what I've come to learn makes a dancer great is their ability to embody the force that moves them. There's something that's really beautiful about this work because I think the more you feel from somebody's movement, the more that you can tell that that person has experienced life and they've allowed life to affect them. I think that's one of the most beautiful lessons that I've gotten out of Butoh, is allowing myself to open to the experience of life, to use fear and uncertainty and sorrow, and to not turn away from them, to not shun them and say, well, this isn't a pleasant experience, so I'm going to push you away. Because actually there's so much intelligence and knowledge and wisdom that lies in those spaces. And so to be able to use dance to access them and then transmute them into something else. You know, it's like a polishing of a diamond. You slowly transform something over time by engaging with it directly. Most recently, I choreographed my first professional piece of work, contemporary work. I began to start our rehearsals in various ways. One of which being just sitting down with my cast at the beginning of class and us all sharing just where we were in our lives. Who were we beyond the walls of the studio? Over time, I saw that kind of opened up a dialogue that existed beyond our rehearsal space, beyond the walls of the company even. But we were sort of pulling each other into our most intimate and personal and vulnerable spaces. I saw everyone go through their own sort of transmutation. At the very beginning of the rehearsal process and also throughout, I continually asked the open-ended question, why do we dance? And it wasn't ever a question that I was looking for an answer, but I wanted to see in their bodies. A goal of mine was to guide my dancers into a deeper knowing of themselves, to relate, to reflect, to be a mirror, to metabolize the greater experience that we have here on earth. People are hungry for that. They're looking for that vulnerability. They're looking for that point of relation. And so I see a real opportunity to bridge the world between classical dance training and Butoh and ritual dance as a way to push the art form forward and to even bring less of a separation between those two worlds. Dancers are these fine-tuned instruments, trained dancers are. And we, beyond the studio, are humans. And I think what makes dance truly an art form is when we use our humility and our humanity to make art, because that's the point.
Next week, inside the monochrome East Asian art exhibit at the St. Louis Art Museum, plus a book that celebrates the magic of the Cardinals in the 80s. Thanks for watching Spotlight. Join us next Sunday at 9:30 a.m. on KPLR 11.